right, guys, we got to talk about college football because there was some big shifts this past weekend. Who was there some shifts? And I knew there would be. It was just a question of how many. Well, it was enough. It was enough. So we're going to get into it and see what we got. If you're new with us, welcome to the channel. I'm Steve, your host, and we are breaking it down this week. We got 2 weeks left in the season. This week and next week. And then we're going to get to playoffs. So we got to see where we're breaking down at here. So instead of a game of the week this week, we just want to break it down and see where we're at. Now, we may have a game of the week next week because we got some good ones this weekend, and we'll talk about that here in a minute too. So, but let's get to the top 25 as it stands right now. Right? All right. At number 1, Ohio State. Okay, granted. Number 2, Indiana. Although Indiana's got a better record, strength of schedule, you know, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, okay. But anyway, 3, Texas A&M, 4, Georgia, 5, Ole Miss. Now, this could shift. The question is how much, okay? And like I said, we'll get to the games here in a minute this weekend, and we'll talk about it, right? Plus, we got next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the following weekend as well. So, all right, at 6, we got Oregon. Well, let me say this first. I think Ohio State and Indiana are in this thing no matter what, right? Well, actually, Texas A&M too, because those 3 teams can take a loss right now and still be safe. 2 losses, that's another story. That shifts everything, right? So any one of those 3 teams at the top, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, if they lose out, that would shift everything. However, if they win out, those 3 teams are in. Hands down, no doubt about it. All right, and then Georgia, Ole Miss at 4 and 5. I think they're pretty much locked to be in this thing as well. Unless, of course, they take another loss. Because we got 10 and 1 and 9 and 1, right? And I think you could go the next 2 teams as well. If they take another loss, they could be out of this thing completely, Oregon and Texas Tech. Okay? And then at 8, you got Oklahoma, 9, Notre Dame, 10, Alabama. Well, Alabama already dropped the loss last weekend to Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma moved up 3. So that's what I'm saying. You could have shifts in this thing before it's said and done. If Alabama loses again, I think they're out. No doubt about it. Notre Dame, same thing, and Oklahoma, same thing. They can't afford to lose. They've got to win out to stay in. And then you got BYU, Vandy at 11 and 12. So that's the way we'd stand going into the playoffs if it was to happen right now. Those 12 teams would be in, right? I don't think it's going to be that way. I just don't. I think somebody's going to take a loss. Well, I know somebody's going to take a loss. The question is, will they take 2 losses? Will they win out? You know, I think there's still a lot of questioning over this 2-week period, right? Vandy, again, can't afford to take another loss. BYU can't afford to take another loss. Bama definitely can't afford it. Notre Dame, Oklahoma, nope. You know, and Texas Tech don't really need to take another one either. So, yeah. But I think pretty much your top 6 are going to be in this thing unless they take a loss. Okay, and then you got Utah, Miami, and Georgia Tech at 13, 14, and 15. Now, with losses up here, these 3 teams could easily jump into that top 12, right? Easily. USC, and now you're at the win-out games, right? starting at 16, USC. They've got to win out, period, hands down. Texas, Michigan, Virginia, Tennessee, from 16 to 20, they have to win out in order to stay alive in this thing. And have to hope for a loss up top. Hey, and then you got James Madison, North Texas, Mizzou, Tulane, and Houston. I don't think they have a shot of getting in this thing. Any one of those. I really don't at this point. But nothing is impossible. See, that's the thing. Nothing is impossible. If every one of those teams in the top, say 15, lose out, again, this whole thing shifts, right? Then you've got USC, Texas, Michigan, Virginia, Tennessee. All of them could move in with if they stay undefeated the rest of the season, if they win out. And the top 12 lose another game. So, yeah, it could be. It's going to be a wild one on the committee this year, no doubt about it. All right, so let's get to the top scheduling and see where we're at. Now, let's go back up here like this so we can see where we're at. Now, let's look at the schedule for this weekend. Okay, you got Samford, Texas A&M. Like I said, Texas A&M cannot afford to take a loss. They need these games. Samford should be no problem, right, for them. But again, if they go in with that, okay, Samford's an easy game. We got this. This is lightweight. We got it. Samford comes in and beats them. Boy, they got a problem then. Same thing with Ohio State. If Rutgers comes in and beats them, and Rutgers is no pushover. Make no mistake about that. Right? Miami, Virginia Tech. Okay, Miami should have that, right? All right, but here you go, 23-8. If this flips, if Mizzou beats Oklahoma, Oklahoma's got a problem. Because that could drop them out of the top 12. But Oklahoma should win that. Georgia, Charlotte, same scenario. If they get the big head, okay, this is an easy game. Charlotte comes in and beats them, which is unlikely to happen. I mean, let's face facts here, right? It's unlikely, but has before. And that's the thing. All right, Washington State, James Madison. Well, James Madison shouldn't have a problem with that. Bama, Eastern Illinois, same thing. They shouldn't have a problem with that. They should be able to easily win that. But then they have Auburn. So, you know, that's always a close game. Or always a tough game. Put it that way. Not close, but tough. And then you got 16 USC at 6 Oregon. Now, see, this is one of the switch games. If USC beats Oregon, Oregon falls, USC moves up. With some help here at the top, too, Ohio State, all that, USC could still be in this thing. Kentucky, Vandy, that should be a good ball game. Vandy should win that, but Kentucky can play, so that should be a really good ball game. That might be the ball game of the weekend. I don't know. We'll have to see. But Oregon, USC should be a good one, and Mizzou, Oklahoma should be really good too. Syracuse, Notre Dame should have no problem with that. Should have no problem with that. And what you got? Texas, Arkansas. Well, I mean, Arkansas is no complete pushover. They haven't played up to par this year, but they're no complete pushover. So that could be interesting. Texas should have that, though. Tulane, Temple. Tulane should win that. Michigan, Maryland. Michigan should win that. Houston TCU, that could be a good ball game too. Houston should win, but TCU is no pushover either. Utah, Kansas State at Utah. Utah should have no problem with that. Pitt at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech should win that, but Pitt's played some decent ball over the past 2 weeks. They should have played better last week, but they still played decent ball, defensively especially. Tennessee, Florida. Tennessee should have no problem with that. North Texas, Rice. North Texas should have no problem with that. And BYU, Cincy. BYU should be able to handle Cincy. So, yeah. It's going to be a wild one. But we'll see what happens. And we'll get into it next week. We should easily have a game of the week next week. I would say, at a guess, I would say probably either USC, Oregon, Mizzou, Oklahoma, a Georgia Tech Pittsburgh game could be interesting, though. That could turn into a really good ball game. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But we'll get into it next week because we're going to start really breaking down this playoff and see where we're at with it. And then when we get to the playoffs, we'll see what we think then, right? It's going to be fun, though. It's going to be a fun end of the year. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it very much. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Come back for more fun. We're here once a week, every week. I'll see you all next week. We are out.